A one cycle is the act of killing the Ender Dragon on its first perch without the need to destroy the crystals. 500 one cycles? Well, that's a lot of time I wasted trying to master this technique, so you don't have to do it. In this video I'm going to tell you everything that I learned in my 500 one cycles, so you can hopefully learn a little bit faster. Let's get straight into it. If you're here, you probably know what a one cycle looks like. It looks easy. You just put a bed on the center pillar of the end, wait for the dragon to come down, blow it up, hopefully as close to the head as possible, replace it and repeat. Well, in essence, that's it. That is a one cycle. With that in mind, let's take a look and analyze my first attempt. Almost nothing has happened yet and I already can see my first mistake. Trying to start without hitboxes. Just use hitboxes at the beginning, it makes it a lot easier. If we now go to the one cycle itself, the first bed is awful. The second is decent, third is bad, the fourth is actually pretty good. I cannot place the sixth bed on my first try, and then the last bed I wasn't able to place it at all and the dragon just hit me away. Okay, so here comes my first tip. Practice the bed placement. Consistency in placing the beds is key to a good one cycle. So the first thing everyone should do is to practice placing the beds and blowing them up. Just go to an end and build a structure like this one, and practice blowing up beds and replacing them. Try to get really consistent at it, because like I said, it's the base of one cycle. Just place beds and blow them up until you really feel comfortable with it. This practice should also be used to find the easiest way for you to move around your hotbar. For me, the easiest way is to use hotkeys for the first 4 beds and then scroll with the mouse. Also, you can notice from these clips that I place the bed, blow it, and then switch to the next bed. You may find it easier to do it the other way around, switch to another bed and then blow it up, and that's fine. The important thing is that you can consistently place beds and blow them up. Now that you are a complete professional at placing and blowing beds, let's add the dragon to the equation. What you wanna do now is blow the beds at the right time, and that is when the hitbox that represents the head is right over the bed. The hitbox that you will be looking at is this one, and blowing the bed when that's right over the head, like this, will deal the most amount of damage. In many tutorials, people say that one cycling has a lot of rhythm into it. And it's true, but from my experience, in the attempts that I actually killed the dragon, what mattered the most was precision, not rhythm. You will internalize the rhythm after a few attempts if you're tracking the head hitbox. And you can see from this graph how many more kills I started getting when I prioritized precision over rhythm. Right here is when I realized that what mattered the most was precision. And with this step, you should be able to start getting kills more consistently. From there on, it's just practice, practice, practice. Something that is worth mentioning is that the dragon may not always come down turning around this axis. It can also be diagonal or perpendicular, but the idea is the same, just blow the bed when the hitbox is on top of it. For some reason, perpendicular perches were a lot harder for me. I don't know why, I just couldn't be consistent at them. But it's not really important because a perpendicular perch can always be a parallel one if you move around the pillar. So, not a big deal, but a good thing to keep in mind. There are 2 mistakes that I made during my attempts that will almost certainly ruin your one cycle. The first one, which is the one that I committed the most, is not being able to place the bed. This will lead you to lose the rhythm and probably blow the bed at the wrong moment if you cannot find the head fast enough. Or, if you cannot place the bed at all, the dragon will just launch you into the sky. This is why I insist that you practice placing beds as much as you can. The second mistake is waiting too long before blowing up the first bed. If you do this, you risk getting yeeted and ruining an attempt. To avoid this mistake, you wanna look at this white box and blow the bed before you're inside it. It's better to have a first bed that does less damage than compromise the whole one cycle just to land the perfect hit. If you realize that the dragon is coming too close to you, just blow up the bed, The explosion will knock the dragon up a little and give you the chance to land a better hit on the next turn. Remember, practice placing beds and blowing them up until you are consistent, and then, when you add the dragon to it, prioritize precision over rhythm. Even though, don't get me wrong, rhythm is important, precision is what will make the difference between a decent one cycle and a good one cycle. From what I learned, that's all you need to know to one cycle the dragon. The rest is just practice, practice, practice. Now let's say that you wanna kill the dragon without the hitboxes. Killing it without hitboxes is pretty much the same as before, but you will not be looking at the hitbox for obvious reasons. Instead, you will be looking at the dragon's feet and blowing up the bed right after they go over the edge of the bed. Let's look at this attempt. It doesn't matter if the feet are coming or going. When they cross the edge of the bed, I blow it up. And you can see that I'm able to kill it using only 6 beds. If you already mastered the one cycle with hitboxes, doing it without hitboxes and using this rule shouldn't be much of a challenge. Well, those were all the tips that I have for you, and now I will tell you a little bit about the world in which you can practice. This world was originally made by G-Mike, but I modified it and made it a little bit better. With this button right here, you can make the time night so you can set spawn, and then in the end, you have this button that will TP you to the middle, give you 9 beds and spawn a dragon perching. It will also drop one item into this chest so you can keep track of how many one cycles you have done. And when you finish one, instead of going all the way back to the button, you can just run over this pressure plate and the same will happen. There is a little bug that I was not able to fix, and it's when you spawn a new dragon, the health bar will not appear. If you want it to appear, you have to close the world and open it again. That's the only solution that I was able to find. There you have everything that I learned from my 501 cycles. I hope that this was helpful and you enjoyed the video. If you have any other tips or tricks, feel free to share them in the comments. Have a very nice day and bye. That was nice.